Yo, what is up, all you Stone Cold Superfly Illmatic Fish Keeping Funkadelics? You watching AQUATICS with me, AQUAFunk. And if this is your first time at this channel, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel, ring the notification bell, leave a thumbs up, and I definitely would appreciate a comment on this subject if you have something to say. Or you can leave a comment and say, yo, what's up, my dog? Whatever you want to do, it's all on you. Today we're going to be talking about tank aggression. What causes it? What can you do about it? And in this tank right here, which seems empty, actually houses a black belt cichlid. And he is in here because he's been a bad boy. Okay, he's been picking on people, he's been fighting people, he's been nipping fins, chasing people around. So I had to remove him from his original aquarium and place him in here temporarily till I figure out what to do with him. And I figured out what I'm gonna do with him. But let's talk about the causes of tank aggression. Okay, so one reason why you might have tank aggression is you just might have bought the wrong fish for the tank. Some fish are just not compatible. For instance, betas don't do well with other fish that have long flowy fins because betas don't like other betas and they could get confused. Another reason why you might have tank aggression is spawning. When fish, pretty much, you know, with your big cichlids, I don't know too much about the smaller fish or anything like that, but with your cichlids especially, when they're in the mood for love, they get kind of, you know, like rowdy with some of the other inhabitants because they got business to tend to, you know what I mean? They don't want to deal with nobody else. They trying to, you know what they trying to do. So, yeah, spawning, mating is a cause for tank aggression. Size could definitely be a cause of tank aggression. When a fish, if you get a fish that just grows way too big for the tank and it inhabits, somebody's got to go. And usually it's the smaller guys' territory. Some fish need a certain amount of space, regardless of the size of the fish. You know, you can have fish of the same size, but just one particular species needs a certain amount of personal bubble, you know what I'm saying? To feel comfortable. Dominant male or tank boss. You could have a case where you have two tank bosses in your tank. Now, let me explain what would happen in this case. Normally, for instance, in a tank like this, okay, all these fish are pretty docile, relatively speaking. So if I were to have one fish in here that was a tank boss, extremely dominant, these other fish would fall into line. Now, what happens if you have two? Never mind spawning, never mind space, just generally want to be bossy. Well, then you have an issue. In the case of this black belt cichlid, let me explain to you how it went down. First of all, I can't remember how I even came across this cichlid. Black belt cichlids are full grown one. It is an impressive looking fish. I can't remember how I got it. Lately, a lot of people have been giving me fish for one reason or another, and I truly appreciate it. And I do believe this is how I got one of these guys. Got this black belt cichlid. It wasn't something I was necessarily intending on getting, but it was something. It wasn't anything I was running away from either. So I accepted. I'm sorry. And he was in this tank and he was living just fine. At one point, I did have a convict in here, and the black belt cichlid and the convict kind of looked similar. So with convict cichlids being convict cichlids, which they're not necessarily rowdy, but they don't let nobody mess with them. When that black belt cichlid and that convict cichlid got into it, that was a quick fix. I just rehomed. Well, when I say rehomed, I just put the convict cichlid in another tank, and that was fine. You know, and it was fine for a while. And then out of nowhere, he started acting up again, pushing everybody around, nipped fins. When I say nip, they were pretty bad. He got on pretty good. Pretty much had all these fish, even the big old chocolate cichlid that's like, you know, a couple times bigger than him, off to the sides, hiding in the little bushes up there. He was just being a punk. He was just being a bully, and I had to move him to the tank up there so I can figure out what it is. Now, let's say you do have a fish, for instance, like a beta fish, where you just miss, you know, where you put the wrong fish in there, and well, that's easy. You can always move the fish if it's a case of mistaken identity. Let's say it is spawning. Keep those two fish their own tank, or remove either the male or female. Let's say it's two tank bosses, like I had with the convict and the black belt. Remove one of the tank bosses. What about if it is overcrowded. Now, okay, that is where I'm at with this fish. It's a case of overcrowding and a case of it just being a bully. He was fine. Everybody was fine. He just came into his own. Think of it as like a rowdy teenage boy who's hitting, you know, his throat got, his voice got a little deeper, you know, hair started growing in funny places on his body. He's got all this testosterone. He decided he wanted to be a bully. He was fine. Everybody was fine with him being a tank boss, but he just wanted to be uber aggressive. You gotta make some decisions. That's what happened to me. This guy was fine in this tank with these fish just overnight. He wanted to be a bully. He hit puberty or something, I don't know. But I need to figure out what I want to do with him. He's a beautiful fish, and when he gets full grown, he is going to be impressive. But that's not the direction where I'm going with my particular fish collection. I didn't set up to have one fish just take over everything. Now, some people might ridicule other people for rehoming fish. Oh, you shouldn't have gotten him if you couldn't take care of them. Well, like I said, they were doing fine. He wasn't big enough. In my opinion, he wasn't big enough to be that much of a prick. But he just decided to be a prick. So what's the responsible thing to do? Spend a couple $100 to get a new tank just for him? I'm gonna go with rehoming. Here's the thing. You know, if you rehome him to a place that you know he's gonna live a long and happy life. Now, if your intentions every time something comes across, trade him into the fish store. I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. The plan was never for this. Like I said, I don't remember how I got this fish. It was never planned out to have him. So it's not like I intentionally bought him with the intentions of, you know, I can always get rid of him in the future. That wasn't my intention. I really wish I could remember where I got that fish. At any rate, don't feel bad about rehoming, okay? Find yourself a friend that has fish that are comparable in aggression, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna need to put him in with fish that ain't gonna take his ish, but is also not gonna kill him. Or somebody, you know, Facebook. You can do any places you can find these type of things. You can find somebody. But don't feel bad about it. Don't let nobody else let you feel bad about it or make you feel bad about it. You know, stuff happens. You cannot predict what happens in a fish's brain. You can make logical guesses from reading, researching, and your own experience. But at the end of the day, you never know that one particular fish at such an early age is going to come into his own to the point where he just becomes deadly to the other fish.